Hey, welcome back to Frank's Model Works. I'm Frank. So if you know me, and if you know me, you have my condolences. But if you know me, you know that my favorite model car of all time is Revell's 1968 Dodge Charger RT. I've built a lot of them over the years. They're a lot of fun to build. They're very accurate. The shapes are just about spot on. And they're easy to work with. There's a lot of parts interchangeability that you could do anything with this kit. So, bearing that in mind, I was informed recently by Terry Wilson, one of the YouTube channels over here, Terry Wilson Models, that there is a mold issue at the C-pillar, the sail panel, on the driver's side of the 1968 Dodge Charger RT kit. And in looking at the body and seeing what he was talking about, I see exactly what he's talking about. I understand where it comes from, and I'll get into that in a second. But I also noticed that there's also a short shot issue in the driver's side rear fender well lip that's oddly reminiscent of what's going on with the passenger side front and rear fender well lips on the Revell 1969 Camaro. So I see this as an opportunity to do a video series that will help people, number one, get their body ready for paint, primer, whatever the case may be, from start to finish, the body work on a model car, and how to fix the issues that you come across when you're in the middle of that process. So hopefully I'll give people some ideas on how to cope with these issues and demonstrate my results so that I can accurately explain why I do things the way that I do. And if I do that well enough, perhaps folks will adopt the way that I do it. But even if you don't, you might learn something here along the way that's going to help you. And that's really my objective. Now, one of the things that I'm going to be using is these two sanding sets. They're I bought them from Burbank's House of Hobbies. Love those guys. They have no idea who I am, which is fine. But they're by a company called DSPIAE. Now, I don't know if I'm supposed to try to pronounce that as a word, like DSPIAE, or if I'm just supposed to say the letters. No, nobody tells you these things. It's just... But these are pretty highfalutin, high class for a dirtbag like me. So, but they will feature prominently. You don't necessarily have to buy these. In fact, more for me. But these look like they're going to be pretty nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up there, and I'm going to show you what we're going to be working with. Okay? Hold on. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is I realize that a lot of the people who subscribe to my channel are kind of used to barn burners for me. Where I just go on and on for an hour. I'm going to try to keep these episodes relatively brief so that I can keep your attention, not bore you too much, while still giving you adequate information. Okay, so this first video is going to focus on what kits we're dealing with and what problems each of these kits have, if any, and then develop a game plan for how we're going to go about fixing them. Okay? So, first and foremost, what kits am I speaking about in this series? This one is my favorite kit, my favorite model car kit of all time. This is the Revell 1/25th scale 1968 Dodge Charger RT. This kit first appeared around 2008. It's based off of the Revell 69 Charger, which we'll speak about in a second. But what I like about this kit is the fidelity of the lines in here. This looks spot on like a 1968 Charger. To my eye. I mean, you know, it's the opinion of an idiot, but I love the way this kit builds up and the way that it looks. So this kit came out 2008. It's fairly commonplace. I mean, this is probably still on the shelves at a Hobby Lobby. My local hobby shop has several of them. I do tend to buy them when I see them. It's just a knee-jerk reaction. That's how much I love this kit. The other kit that I'm going to be referring to is the 2011 boxing of the Revell 1969 Dodge Charger RT. Now, why specifically the 2011 boxing, Frank? Because in the 2011 boxing, I will show you first the body from the 1969 kit. The body from the 1969 kit, released in 2011, has a vinyl top molded in. As you can see, the seams for the vinyl top, and it's textured. Okay? What's good to know about this body is that this body does not have the side marker lights molded in. So for 1969, the side marker lights on a Dodge Charger would be rectangular. The side marker lights for a 1968 Charger would be circular. You'll notice there's none molded in on this body. And the best part about it is, this is the 1968 Dodge Charger. It also does not have the side marker lights molded in. So a 1968 would have round marker lights. What a 1969 would have rectangular. What's interesting to note is that these bodies are identical and interchangeable. And the only difference between them is that the 69 Dodge Charger that was released in 2011 has a vinyl top molded in, whereas the 68 Dodge Charger kit does not have the molded. So you could take the body from a 68 kit and put it on the chassis, interior, and all of the grill and the valance panels of a 69 and make a 69. These bodies are interchangeable, which is that's a cool aspect. So, and I've actually done it successfully. The Charger videos that I have in my featured build series were all started life in a 2011 Dodge Charger box, especially, you know, for the bodies. So you could just put the grill, if you look on the cars themselves, 69 Charger has this peak in the middle with the hidden headlights. You see the peak on the 69? The 68 just does not have that peak. And then on the taillights of a 68, you have two rounded taillights on each side, whereas on a 69, where is it? You have this taillight style. The badging is different, but the badging that you need for each year is included in the kit in either decal form or on the chrome tray. So that's a good thing. So keep that in mind if you ever, for your project. Now, as always, whenever I speak about the 68 or 69 or 70 Chargers, I always say that you need to check out Raoul's video from the Muscle Car Modeler. His kit comparison videos are second to none, okay? I'm going to link to it in the description like I always do. You got to check his videos out on kit descriptions and kit comparisons. Invaluable resource, okay? So the first thing that I did, you don't necessarily have to do this as a function of body prep. I just did this because it's going to help me show you, and it's going to help, frankly, it's going to help me see also the things on this body that need to be fixed, okay? So what I did first was almost like a guide coat. I just shot these bodies with Tamiya light gray primer out of a can. It's just so I can show you what problems I'm gonna be addressing, and I'm also gonna show you how to find the mold separation lines for the body. Okay, so I'm gonna take the 69 first because this one doesn't necessarily have a problem in it other than what's in the fender well, but we'll get to that in a second. So now to find your mold separation lines, the easiest way to find it is to start at the driver's fender. And the mold line is going to usually come around off of this line of the fender and pop down right here. And it's going to ride down in this area. You don't necessarily have to address this area specifically, but you might want to give a little kiss in this area just to make sure that you're not going to have fitment issues. Now, if you would look right here, you have a little bit of an area right there you're going to need to finesse. And this is something that you'll develop over time. You'll develop an eye for correcting. So now the panel, the mold separation line comes this way. If you take a Sharpie and you go along an edge, you'll see how sharp that means you're hitting a mold separation line. When it's that sharp, when the line is that thin, that means you're on a mold separation line. Now that likely goes inside this fender wall lip. So this is the inside of the fender wall lip. You could probably not sand this, but it's just to show you where it is. And then it's going to run along here. Sometimes you might have in this area some finessing to do to get a nice straight surface for you to work. And now that brings us over to one of the problems with this kit. So if you notice that there's a lip of chrome trim, well, trim that would be chromed on the real car, molded into the body. But if you look in this area right here, get as close as I can, hopefully that's focusing. Right here, that trim is fading into the body panel right here. So in this area, we're going to have to build up with sheet styrene to replace where the trim is being either short shot or perhaps there's damage to the mold. Now, luckily, that's the only problem where this occurs on this kit. But you have to check when you take the body for your model car out of the box. This is something you got to check. It's very important. So I checked this previously. This is fine. It's fine over here as far as the trim goes. It's fine over here. So we're gonna have to work this right here. Okay. So now we're gonna come around. Here's a mold separation line. We're gonna have to do a little finessing right here. Not really necessary, but we'll do what we gotta do. Okay. Now keep in mind that here, a valance panel is gonna sit in here, and then there's the panel where the taillights are, and then a bumper also comes in here. So just very lightly, what we'll do when we remove these lines, the reason why we use a Sharpie is we just remove whatever's in Sharpie, whatever's revealed by the Sharpie. This way we know we're not necessarily changing the contours and the mating surfaces for parts later on. Okay, so we're coming around. Get these insides. Like I said before, you don't necessarily need to do these, but it's good to know, you know, you check, like right here, there's a little bit of flash that we'll hit with a sanding stick and make sure that that's good. Okay, same thing here. Flip around, we're in here, a little bit in here, come up, and then we're gonna hit the line. Now, these are the ones you really got to get rid of. All right, so that comes up here. It meets this peak. So as you see, I'm running this across, and we got a thin line. If you run a Sharpie along a panel, you know, it's gonna make a line as wide as the tip of the marker. So you'll notice that we just have to remove this. And on a real charger, this is peaked. So we don't want to remove too much. We want to maintain the character line of the peak that's in this fender. Okay? So on this kit, this panel line comes across this seam between the door and the fender, and then rides right up this rail right here, which is good because it's in a panel line, so we don't really have to go nuts on it. Then it comes up this drip line where we don't necessarily have to really dig in. We just have to make sure we address it. Now, when we get to this area right here, this is where we have to be careful. So our panel line comes in right here, and it crosses over, comes down across this piece of chrome trim that's the surround for the vinyl top, and then crosses the rear quarter panel right here. See how thin that line is? Now this is the line. That one right there is the one that, and when we get to talk about this, this is the one that's going to give you a swift pain in the neck. Because if you're using lacquer, like to me, out of a spray can, or Splash, or MCW, or Scale Automotive Finishes, that type of product, you could cause this line to bloom again if you lay lacquer on it very thickly. So you have to really make sure that you get rid of this line, because it'll come right back, which is a shame. I mean, it has to do with the solvents in the lacquer, but it could happen, say, even if you're using enamels. Any type of really rugged, aggressive solvent is going to affect. Let me get in here close. I gotta put my bifocals on for a second. Bring in my magnifier. See how that comes up? Okay. So now that panel line then jumps across here to the other side. And then we just chase it across here, along here, and over here. Up. Over and down. So we have actually found our mold separation lines, and we're going to address them. So now on this kit, this is the body that would come in the 1968 Dodge Charger kit. Now this has a problem with it. Not just this right here in the trim, which we'll have to fix, but the mold separation lines are the same between the kits. The problem lies right here. I'm not going to do the other lines on the body. The problem lies right here. Right in that area that I just highlighted. There is, because these bodies are developed from the same kit, there is a vestigial nub that's left over from this piece of trim that goes around the vinyl top. So this little piece right here is still, because the panel line, the mold separation line goes around, they never removed this little piece of what was chrome trim on the vinyl top. So that needs to be addressed. And the first portion, when I actually start fixing it, we're going to address this problem right here of replacing the lost chrome trim that goes around this fender well, and removing the vestigial nub of chrome trim that's here. We're also, in removing the mold separation lines, now because this is molded as a vinyl top, there's a texture to it. When we sand in here on this panel line, we're going to be sanding the texture of the vinyl top. We're going to be sanding it smooth. So what we're going to have to do is replace a little bit of that texture. So I'll show you at that point going forward what we can do in order to replace that texture if it's lost. Okay? Now, what am I going to use? So I showed you at the beginning of this video these sets of sanding sticks that are from the company called DSPIAE. As you can see right there. These things, I mean, not for nothing, these things are nice. $9.49 at Burbank's House of Hobbies for this set, and $9.49 for this set. So not only do you get the carrying cases with the sanding abrasives inside, but look at this, it's not just one abrasive. You get two of a very thin, a medium thickness, and a relatively thick sanding sponge. This is actually really, really nice for the price. I mean, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I get no promotional consideration, but $9.49 for 5 grits, 5 useful grits of sanding sponges. This is a firm sponge backing on here. This is really nice stuff. I'm actually looking forward to working with this. So in each, and then this set goes from, this is 180 grit to 800 grit. So for cleaning up a body, we're probably going to start at 400, work our way up. But even still, 180 grit and 280 grit, that's good. We still have uses for that. We could sand tires with that. I mean, we could do really roughing in of repairs that we make. And then this set is 1,000 to 2,500. So 1,000, 1,200, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, and it's the same thing. Really nice. 3 thicknesses, two sponges of each thickness. So, I mean, for $9.50, this is nice. So, head over to wherever you buy your DSPIAE stuff. I buy it from Burbank's House of Hobbies. I actually like those folks a lot. They're very nice. And look into this. This is a nice deal. So I'm going to be using this for removing the mold separation lines. For repairing this little vestigial nub, the tool that's going to figure most prominently is this. This is a flexi file, and I'll have a link to it, probably an Amazon link, or If Burbank has it, I'll put a link for that also. But this is actually an invaluable tool. You can, it comes in different grits. This is, geez. You know, it would be really good if I would just commit to memory what these are. This one is 320 grit. So what's good about this is this triangular point right here. The first thing I'm going to do in removing this vestigial nub is use an X-Acto blade. I have other tools that, and I actually have another 68 body that I'm going to show you how to remove this with the other tools that I have. But I want you to make minimal. This is more about building a skill rather than buying stuff. So using minimally invasive to your budget tools, I'm going to show you how to get rid of this, okay? And the first thing is going to be with an X-Acto knife, okay? But like I said, because I want to keep these videos relatively short, we've developed a plan. We've shown what the problem is and developed a plan for rectifying it. So I'm gonna take you off, put you back on the tripod, and sum up this this first part of this series. Okay, hold on a second. We got our work cut out for us, but this is going to be an interesting, rewarding, and fun journey. So I'd like you to stick around for it. Invariably, somebody's going to ask about the Dick Landy 1968 Charger disc boxing. These are kind of collectors, you know, like they're a little spendy. My problem, there's no problem with it. It's just it has the problem with the vestigial nub of the chrome trim. It does not have the problem with the surround over here in the fender well. But as far as it being a 68, anybody from Mopar want to tell me what the problem might be? Any Mopar guys want to tell me what might be wrong with that for a 68? I'll clue you in. In 1968, marker lights on the side were round, and they were rectangular for 69, like I said before. So this body, you could use. I mean, if you have several of these lying around that you bought cheap when they were originally issued, I don't think this kit was ever reissued. So if you wanna, if you want to use it as a 69 without a molded in vinyl top, you're still gonna have to remove the vestigial nubs of chrome trim over here. So you stick around for the rest of the series. But on the bright side, you're not going to have to fix the trim in the fender well. So, and I just wanted to make sure that I pointed out, I had thought originally, that was before I put a coat of this, so if you saw my channel update from a couple of weeks ago, I had said that the problem with the vestigial nub is only on the driver's side. It's not. You can see right there what I'm talking about, the little thing sticking up that's surrounded by the mold separation line right there. It's on both sides. You can see it highlighted there. So you got to remove it from both sides. But it's not rocket surgery. It's not that hard. And we're going to get through it together, and we're going to have fun doing it. All right? So this is part 1. Part 11D7 will be up, in a couple of weeks. I don't sleep much anymore. This is one of the 68 charges I finished back in October. The one that you saw in the beginning of the video was the bullet charger. They're all featured in my featured build series. I have videos on these two, and also a blue one that I built for a family that was on the Dylan McCool channel for a barn find. check those videos out. They're pretty cool. I love those belts. It's my favorite models of all time, especially the blue one. That was my favorite model of all time because I was building it with that family in mind, and I actually wound up giving the model to the family. It's really cool. Go check those videos out. So stick around. We're gonna have some fun, and I'm gonna wave my hands. And as always, what's number one? What's number one? That's right. I got Frizzo's back. I appreciate your support. And until we speak again, my friends, take care of yourselves and be well.